money rules the world. It's all about money, and the Sacklers knew it. And the Sacklers knew that they had this incredible product that could do this incredible thing, take away your pain. And the Sacklers knew it, and they knew how to monetize it. And they knew how to game the system. And I think like the worst thing that I found, the thing that really floored me, well, that was what Painkiller, was for me. The show I did about Purdue Pharma, and the Sackler family. It's interesting. Just today, what's the date today? What is it?
The 16th.
The 16th. So today on the way over here, someone sent me a New York Times article about a new twist in the opioid epidemic. These companies that serve as the middlemen between the doctors and between the prescribers and the insurance companies. There are these companies that control what the insurance companies will allow to be prescribed. So if a doctor says you should have you should be able to take 250 milligrams of Oxycontin a day, these companies are in charge of regulating whether the insurance companies will pay for that. So they've got this incredible power. And there's 3 main companies, can't remember the names of them, but it's just today in the paper. And now it came out in the Times today that the Sacklers and other drug companies were bribing these guys to restrict the amount of pills that were allowed to be prescribed. So they would get paid off, and they would allow these incredible prescriptions to be put through, and the insurance companies to pay for them. So it's just more of a game within a game within a game.
Damn. When you made that, I mean that exposed a lot of shit to the public that people weren't really thinking about. I mean, when you make something like that, do you have any fear?
A little bit. For a minute, I did.
You're fucking with some really powerful people.
So at first I didn't, right? It's like people said, well, when you went to Iraq, were you scared? And I said, well, not really, because there were 20 Navy SEALs around me all the time, and I felt pretty safe. When I got back and I kind of really looked at the map and figured out, I felt a little more nervous. But in the moment, I didn't feel nervous. Probably should have felt a little more nervous, but I felt very safe with the guys. The Sacklers, at first I'm like, well, yeah, these guys are fucking scumbags. Fuck them. Let's make a movie and let's tell the truth. I have friends that have died from drug addiction, and I don't give a fuck, and let's go. I'm not scared. The more research I did, the more nervous I got, because they're just like, these are like real mobsters. These are the real Pablo Escobars, the real drug dealers that are, putting up numbers much larger than the Medellin cocaine cartels, the companies like Purdue and the Sackler families. So the more I learned about just how powerful and quiet they were, and what kind of masterminds at secrecy, like you still, if you try and, search Richard Sackler, they're so fucking scrubbed that you'll get virtually nothing on them. And they just constantly cycle that. And I've yet to find anyone who's better scrubbed as far as, internet than Richard Sackler, the kingpin of the Sackler family. But so the more I learned, the more nervous I got. And there was a moment where I was literally paranoid, and I'm like checking my back and like making sure doors are locked, and and having access to security if I felt threatened. And then I realized, like, if they want to get me, they're going to get me.
Yeah.
And kind of by the time we really got going, the wave was really getting big, and people were finally starting to say the name Sackler and realize just how dirty and corrupt this family was. And I felt I think all of us involved felt at least secure in that, like, it was so public at this point that if they did come after us, everyone was going to know. It's like I didn't have to leave a note like, hey, man, if something happens to me, it was Richard Sackler. People kind of already would get that.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, dude, I don't know if I want to stand so close to you. Or I'd invite my friends out to dinner, and they're like, yeah, no, we're good. I'm busy for a while. Let's see how the show plays out. People kind of distance themselves, joke at me for a minute. But, I mean, I'm not necessarily like the biggest conspiracy guy. Like, I'm always up to entertain a good conspiracy story. Like, I'll talk about Lee Harvey Oswald for a long time and the magic bullet theory and all that. But I don't even know whether it's a conspiracy or it's just like the realization of how the world does business. And this, if you really want to understand what the fuck's going on, not just in pharmaceuticals, but I think in almost any business, certainly the business of war, right?
Yeah.
The amount of guys that are making money off of war, right? That's a different story. But the way the money rules the world, it's all about money, and the Sacklers knew it. And the Sacklers knew that they had this incredible product that could do this incredible thing, take away your fucking pain. Like, for anyone that's dealt with pain, whether it's like the emotional pain that your buddy went through after losing his child and girlfriend and seeing what he saw in that helicopter, he's in pain. Give me that pill. Give me 40 milligrams of that liquid honey, you know, that happens to have a little battery acid in the middle of it. I'll take it. And the Sacklers knew it, and they knew how to monetize it. And they knew how to game the system. And I think, like, the worst thing that I found, the thing that really floored me, was this guy, Curtis Wright. Do you know who Curtis Wright is?
Curtis Wright, no.
So the one of the challenges the Sacklers had with OxyContin and Purdue had, they needed to get the FDA to approve it, right? They had spent so much money developing this drug, and they were having financial problems prior to OxyContin being approved by the FDA, that they were all in on OxyContin, and they needed the FDA to approve it. And like, you think about the FDA, and, you know, big government organization, and it, you know, is probably a big organization that probably does need a haircut, and I'll bet they're going to get one now with the new administration, which is probably a good thing, I think. But you think, oh, wow, the FDA has to approve OxyContin. That's probably a team of 50 scientists, and they're going to have to go. It was really just one guy. And it was this kind of nerdy dude named Curtis Wright, and he was the obstacle. He kept saying to the Sacklers and to Purdue Pharma, I can't approve this drug. This is heroin in a little M&M wrapper. Like, what are you, fucking crazy? No. And they kept trying. He went through multiple applications, and this one guy was saying no. And that was putting the entire Sackler family and Purdue Pharma in real risk of financial ruin. And so at some point prior to getting the approval, some members of Purdue Pharma took Curtis Wright to a hotel room in the Virginia area, somewhere near DC, and they spent a couple of days in a hotel room. And no one knows what happened in that hotel room. When they came out, Curtis Wright had signed the approval with the words that OxyContin is believed to be non-addictive. Is believed, which is weird language. It's not OxyContin is not addictive. It is OxyContin is believed to not be addictive, but no one ever used that language. Doesn't make any sense. Curtis, he approved it. The drug gets, you know, going, and it becomes a grand slam home run, and the money's off the chart. About a year and a half later, Curtis Wright leaves the FDA and goes and works for Purdue Pharma. And he was making, they say, $70,000 at the FDA, hundreds of thousands at Purdue. They bought him. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, that is how the fucking world operates. It's not a conspiracy, it's a fact. And, you know, it's public. People know about it. Human beings like your friends and friends that I have are dying and are still dying. People are getting addicted. Families are being thoroughly fucked up and derailed. And this is how it goes.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.